I'm Stephen Cole. Welcome back to Talk to Al Jazeera. And I'm talking to the Serb President, Boris Tadić. Mr. President, your way to the European Union is blocked at the moment by the abject failure to capture the indicted war crime suspects. How do you move on from that?
This is one of the most critical issues for Serbia today, and we are trying to capture all indictees from the beginning of democratic changes. We send in the Hague Tribunal more than 40 indictees in past 7 years. We have a requirement from the Hague Tribunal for next more. One of the main person is General Mladić, and from that reason I would like to underline this is really Serbian interest to send in the Hague Tribunal all indictees. But from time to time I cannot understand why some politicians in Europe are thinking that Serbia do not want to do that, or why Madame Del Ponte is thinking that we are trying to avoid our obligations. First of all, this is our interest. Let's turn back a little bit on the Kosovo issue. The main improvement of our credibility in the international community is going to be delivering Ratko Mladić and other indictees. In terms of achieving successful solution on Kosovo, this is also main or key element. This is our interest to deliver Ratko Mladić, and this is why we are doing everything that is in our power in that sense.
Carla Del Ponte told me she doesn't think you're doing enough. She said they have tried for 12 years. They're not working hard enough to bring them in.
I hope that in her next life she's going to be president of such country which has to deliver all indictees. We delivered more than 40 persons. Also 2 presidents of Serbia were delivered in the Hague Tribunal. I'm only one who is a free man.
The problem is you've had 12 years. There's no sign of them. Some people are saying a deal has been done with Washington to ensure their safety, ensure their freedom. How would you react to that suggestion?
I do not want to estimate our reaction right now, and until the end of the process we are going to do everything that is in our power to achieve real compromise, to do something.
It's compromise again. I mean, the War Crimes Tribunal doesn't want compromise. They want those 4 indicted war crime suspects, including, of course, the high profile of Karadzic and Mladić.
We are going to do everything that is in our power to deliver them.
Would you welcome help from other European armies to find them?
For sure.
Are you calling on NATO to help, or other police forces to come in?
In which sense? NATO to come to arrest Ratko Mladić?
Police forces, soldiers to come in and search for them?
We have a normal cooperation in that sense with the international security institutions, like all other European countries, and we are cooperating very well, and Carla Del Ponte knows that very well.
Because unless you do deliver these 2 high profile, around the world you know this, and both times you've said, why are European politicians stopping us from doing something? First of all, the answer to Kosovo, secondly to the war crime suspects. The point is the rest of Europe feel you're allowing them to stay in Serbia and you're not looking hard enough.
This is not the truth. To underline our approach, I'm saying again, we are doing everything that is in our power. How maybe you can see some other evidence here in the region. We were trying to arrest General Djordjevic for many years, and we couldn't do that. We got some information that he's in some foreign countries. We didn't believe that. We were working on that issue very hard. A few months ago we got information that he is in a neighboring country, in Montenegro. We sent this information in the police of Montenegro, and we captured him immediately with Montenegrin police forces. Everyone accused Serbia that he's in Serbia or in some other countries in the world, and that means that this is possible to imagine that some indictees are not in Serbia, they are in some other countries. Our interest is to find them. For us it's much more easier to find them on the Serbia soil. If some of them are in the other countries, this is making some problems, some obstacles in terms of finding them.
But you understand your way to Europe is blocked unless they're handed over.
For sure. We know that.
Does that worry you? Because I read a poll that 3/4 of all Serbs want membership of the European Union, but it's a long way off. And you're seeing wealth increase in countries surrounding Serbia, and Serbia's falling back.
This is making concerns.
So there's urgency, isn't there?
This is making concerns, but at the same time we are doing everything that is in our power. That's everything what we can do right now in terms of finalizing cooperation with the ICTY.
It's the same poll read that the majority of Serbs want to join the European Union. The majority of Serbs don't want to belong to NATO. And the majority of Serbs don't want independence for Kosovo. Three very tricky issues. How are you going to touch those bases and make them all work and join them up?
This is arts of politics. And it takes some patience, some very clever steps, and go ahead on the very optimistic way, even though we are facing with a with the serious difficulties in that sense.
You have domestic problems as well, don't you? I read the Serbian Red Cross says 20% of Serbia's population is poor. So your time is limited and running out, isn't it, to try and achieve some economic progress, or your country's going to fall even further behind its neighbors. And that's going to be embarrassing.
Serbia is a very specific country. We are at the same time negotiating with our European partners in terms of SAA agreement. We are negotiating about future status on Kosovo. We are trying to achieve on the third track to capture Ratko Mladic and other 3 indictees. We are creating economic reforms in our country. We are, in terms of economic reforms, #1 country in the world. And this is very interesting. We have, in past 7 years, growth of our economy between 6 and 7% per year. We have macroeconomic stability. Serbia has a really significant foreign direct investments. And Serbia has a huge potential, that says. Serbia is a vibrant country with a huge human resources. And I'm totally sure, after solving problems like Kosovo, like Hague Tribunal, we are going to be one of the pillar of the stability and one of the driving force of economic improvement and development in the region. If you are going to ask me how we are doing all these things at the same time, I cannot say how we are doing that, but we are doing that.
I'm going to add another problem, Bosnia-Herzegovina. What's happening there?
Serbia is one of the guarantors.
Resignations, you're talking autonomy, sorry? There's resignations in the air, there's autonomy talks.
Serbia is a guarantor of Dayton's agreement. We are fully supporting Dayton's agreement and the integrity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I am, as a Serbian president, totally against partition of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I'm totally sure that creating greater Serbia and greater Croatia with a very small Muslim country between us will be counterproductive solution. I would like to see whole Bosnia and Herzegovina, but at the same time that it doesn't mean that I'm against remaining Republika Srpska or Muslim Croatian Federation. I'm supporting at the same time Dayton's agreement, that means Republika Srpska and Muslim Croatian Federation. Serbia is not going to do something against the territorial integrity of our neighbor country, Bosnia and Herzegovina. But that means that Serbia is supporting Dayton's agreement. Right now, Mr. Lajčák, who is international representative in Bosnia and Herzegovina, is making some steps. If this is not acceptable for Serbs in Bosnia and Herzegovina, he has to take it into the consideration and to make a compromise. If that his steps or his decisions are not going to be acceptable for Muslim Croatian Federation, he has to do the same. He has to talk with the legitimate representative of Muslim Croatian Federation or representative of Republika Srpska. This is only one way. But to impose something, this is from my point of view, totally counterproductive, that this is not going to work.
Does Mr. Kostunica agree with you? Are you in accord?
I'm totally sure that he agrees with me on that issue.
Do you agree on all these issues with Mr. Kostunica?
For Sure. For course, Mr. Koštunica is not supporting partition of Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is for sure.
Do you regret, Mr. President, having to cope and clear up all this mess left behind by President Milosevic?
I'm facing with the problems which are legacy of Milosevic's power here. I'm trying to solve problems which are coming from the Milosevic period. But at the same time, we are facing with the real challenges. But I'm totally sure that we can do that. Serbia is a pillar of stability in the Balkans region. Without Serbia, there is no development of our regional countries. Serbia is has a central position in Southeastern Europe. We have frontiers with all other countries. Serbia is infrastructure itself. We are in the middle. And from that reason, stability in Serbia, democratic institutions, and our approaching toward the European Union, and finally our full membership in the European Union and Euro-Atlantic structure is going to be helpful not only for Serbia but also for other nations and other countries in the region.
If you fall out with Europe, you've always got Moscow to go to. Moscow's a big supporter of Serbia. How necessary, how invaluable is Moscow's support for you?
I very much appreciate how Moscow is approaching toward the talks about future status on Kosovo. I appreciate very much how Moscow is defending international principles on that issue. We have a very close relations with Moscow for many, many decades and centuries, but we have very close relations with the European countries, with France, with the Great Britain. We were an alliance in the 2 world wars. And this is very important to know today. But the final home for Serbia is Brussels. We have to be a member state of European Union, and that is going to be.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.